faceless mob that we come across, simple, God-fearing people that we come across in rural areas, the people who face life as it comes uncomplainingly. When we meet them separately as individuals, they do not have any special identity. But around the time of Ashadhi, the resonating notes of Gyanba Tukaram tingle the ears, and the ordinary rural Maharashtrian transforms into a Varkari and is drawn towards Pandharpur with some unknown pull. The bare feet fast treading the path to Pandharpur make us wonder about the magnetic pull that operates from Pandharpur. My generation, that is present young generation, is basically a generation of non-believers. We simply don't believe in anything easily. We were told that lakhs of people walk to Pandharpur on foot as they believed that their revered god Vithoba himself had summoned them. They strongly believe that while on their way to Pandharpur, the revered saints of the Varkari tradition such as Jnaneshwar, Tukaram, Nivruttinath, Namdev, etc., they also walk with them on their journey. Another staunch belief of these Varkaris is that the kind motherly Jnanoba not only walks with them. When they get exhausted on the route, Jnanoba soothingly touches their burning feet and alleviates their pain. Once again, they get ready for the remaining journey. We had no faith in any of these things, but we were curious to experience the excitement of walking along with lakhs of Varkaris, and that curiosity prompted us to participate in the Wari, and what unfolds hereafter is the story of that Wari. We embarked on our Wari on the 8th day of the dark fortnight of the month of Jyeshtha. A number of Dindis started gathering at Alandi right from the wee hours at dawn. The temple of Jnaneshwara, situated on the banks of the Indrayani river, is the center point of all the activities. When we were at Alandi, we witnessed a flood of water brimming through the Indrayani, and we were also spellbound by another flood of people overflowing on the banks of the Indrayani. To have a glimpse of their beloved deity Vithoba, these people head towards Pandharpur, but the journey is to be made along with the revered saints. That is the core concept of Wari. Santa Sahvasa, that is the company of the holy saints, is as crucial as their urge to be at the feet of the Vithoba, and that is why all these people have gathered here at Alandi. Jnaneshwara is also referred to as Jnaneshwar Maharaj, the king of all saints. Naturally, the preparations for the embarkment of a journey are made on a grand scale. The Varkaris believe that the silver-clad sandals of Jnaneshwar Maharaj symbolize the actual presence of the saint. These sandals are ceremoniously placed in the silver-clad, finely carved and decorated palanquin. The leaders of the Dindis come to the temple to invite the Mauli officially. They are felicitated. The ritual of worshipping the sandals of the Mauli is also conducted with great devotion and reverence. While this ritual takes place inside the temple, the Varkaris gathered outside the temple are brimming with tremendous zeal and enthusiasm. They dance with boundless joy as they believe that Mauli will walk with them alongside on their way, and they will be greatly honored by the revered presence of the Mauli beside them. Mauli, Mauli, the echoes rend the skies as Varkaris invoke the Mauli to come out of the temple. Varkaris have deep faith that the pinnacle of the temple moves, and that is a sign that Mauli is leaving the temple. Naturally, while the Varkaris dance in delirium, they continuously gaze at the pinnacle for the signal. Human pyramids are formed. Varkaris swirl round themselves chanting Mauli, Mauli. The pandemonium breaks loose. The torrential rain keeps on pouring. The rhythmic sound of tal and mridanga reaches to the crescendo, and the divine moment comes when the Varkaris feel that the pinnacle of the temple has actually moved. Holding their breaths, the Varkaris watch this phenomenon and keep on chanting Mauli, Mauli relentlessly when finally Jnaneshwar Maharaj comes out from the temple. On the very first day, it is the privilege of the people of Alandi to welcome and felicitate the palanquin that carries the holy sandals of Saint Jnaneshwar. That night, the Mauli resides at Gandhiwada, which is believed to be the maternal uncle's house of Mauli. The next day at early dawn, the longest journey from Alandi to Pandharpur is embarked upon, the journey that will continue for about 3 weeks without a break. Krishnakant is a son of the soil in the truest sense of the word. Owner of a not so fashionable home and a small piece of land, Krishnakant is also a son of the toil. So when Krishnakant noticed Pausha, a rare bird whose arrival indicates arrival of monsoon, he immediately put his pair of bullocks to the job. Nursing the soil is an art one realizes watching Krishnakant. His feet barely touch the Kali and yet leave an imprint behind. It is as if a man softly kissing his newly-wed wife, his lips touching her cheek just a bit to convey that he cares. Krishnakant and his wife go to Alandi every year and then on to Pandharpur. The couple isn't alone from their village. More than a dozen of them join Krishnakant and his wife in his march. Like them, people come from everywhere, from tiny villages spread across Maharashtra, nearly 500,000 of them. Men and women, the young and the elderly, the sick and the healthy, farmers, peasants, laborers, the lower sections of the society, the middle class, the rural rich, the Dalits, Hindus and even Muslims. May it rain, may their feet suffer burns due to heated tar roads, the bhajans go on, and so does the chanting of Jnanoba, Mauli, Tukaram, as all of them descend on Alandi on their way to Pandharpur. This annual pilgrimage that passes through 3 districts in Maharashtra and covers a distance of nearly 250 kilometers is the reverentially called Pandharpur Wari, and its participants are Varkaris. Like Hindus who go to Kashi or Muslims who go to Mecca, a Varkari should go to Pandharpur twice a year, on the 11th day of the Hindu month of Ashadha and then in Kartik, known popularly as Ashadhi Ekadashi and Kartiki Ekadashi.
This movement has a great tradition, more than 500 years, maybe 1000 years, because we have reference in Adya Shankaracharya's beautiful stotra, Pandurangashtakam, where he mentions Mahayoga Pithe Tate Bhimaratyam Varam Pundalikaya Datum Munindrai Samagatya Tishtam Tamananda Kandam Parabrahmalingam Bhaje Pandurangam. So he refers to Pandharpur as Mahayoga Pith, and this is in 8th century, and references are there where we find even in the 5th century in one of the Tamrapatas there is a reference of Pandharpur. In 1903 Mysore government has published a gazette wherein the collector of Solapur makes a reference to Wari movement which was there even in 5th and 6th century. We have King Shalivahan who has given the name Pandharpur to this city after Pandurang. In 83 AD, so if Pandharpur is in existence in 83, almost 2000 years back. Wari must have great relevance and existence at least 1000 years back.
Palki processions of Sant Dnyaneshwar and Sant Tukaram meet as both enter city of Pune, one of the best known centers of learning in India. The whole city wears a festive look as it prepares to welcome the two processions. Arches are erected at every prominent road junction on the route of Palki procession. Families gather by the side of the road so that everyone gets a glimpse. So much is the enthusiasm that even 2-3-year-old children are taken to see the procession as it arrives in the city. Generations of citizens from Pune have grown up watching the devotion of Warkaris since their childhood. So much that for them it becomes an initiation of sorts into the Warkari sect. When the Wari reaches Pune, the Vice Chancellor of Pune University welcomes the Wari, and the students from Pune University work as volunteers. The longest and the most difficult phase in the Wari is the journey from Pune to Saswat. At this juncture, all the Warkaris enter into rural Maharashtra in the true sense of the word. The devotees from Pune who are unable to walk in the Wari to Pandharpur walk at least this distance from Pune to Saswat. Naturally, in this phase, you experience the utmost crowd. Every year, it is on the day of Ekadashi, the 11th day of the first fortnight of the month of Ashad, that the Warkaris have to cross this phase. As per the rules and regulations of the Warkari sect, every Warkari keeps a fast on the day of the Ekadashi, and so to cross this difficult section of Wari on this day is a challenge for every Warkari. In this phase of the Wari, we come across Dive Ghat, a winding path covering a distance of about 8 kilometers. This ghat tests the tenacity of the Warkaris, as there is a deep valley on the left side of the path and there are high mountain peaks on the right side. When the Warkaris reach this ghat, invariably they face torrential rains and consequently the green beauty of nature, just like the green silken apparel of new bride, is spread everywhere around. Ascending this winding path is a great challenge even for the Mauli's Ratha. Normally, 2 bullocks are tied to the Ratha who drag the Ratha. But when the Mauli's Ratha halts for rest before the Dive Ghat at Vadki Nala, 12 bullocks are tied to the Ratha and then the journey begins. The rain keeps pouring wildly and in spite of it, the journey continues without a break. The Mauli Ratha ceaselessly keeps ascending. It takes about an hour and a quarter for the Ratha to cross this part of the journey. But when the Ratha is actually trailing towards its destination through the Dive Ghat, the surrounding area is as if thrilled with excitement. The people sitting in the upper area of the Ghat keep a track of the Ratha, and for them watching the Mauli Ratha through this Ghat is a tremendously exciting experience. Throughout the Ghat, everywhere, within the reach of your sight, you see only the Warkaris dauntlessly treading the uphill path and the Ghat covered with a saffron veil. The valley resonates with the echoing notes Jnanova Mauli Tukaram, Jnanova Mauli Tukaram, and there is a mind-boggling, thrilling sensation that pervades your very existence. All Warkaris believe that they have to be at the feet of Lord Vithoba at Pandharpur on Ashadhi Ekadashi, and hence they travel to Pandharpur with the palkis of various saint poets from across the Maharashtra. Nearly 25 palkis from across Maharashtra travel to Pandharpur for Ashadhi Ekadashi, and each of them have a huge following. Of these, the palki procession of Saint Jnaneshwara is said to be the biggest. Sant Jnaneshwar and his siblings Nivrittinath, Sopandev and Muktabai can be called the first missionaries of Warkari sect who worked for the growth of the sect across Maharashtra. Take a look at the revered saints of Warkari sect. Sant Jnaneshwara, whom Warkaris affectionately called Jnanoba, was a Brahmin. Sant Tukaram or Tukoba was a Shudra. Gora was a potter. Sauta Mali the gardener. Narahari Sonar a goldsmith. Kanopatra a dancing girl. All of them became part of this movement and reached to its zenith by the sheer force of their devotion to Lord Vittala. At the top of this order of saints is Jnaneshwara, whom Warkaris affectionately refer to as Mauli. Essentially, it is a movement of Marathi-speaking people. Warkaris believe that they live in the company of saints. Santa Sajjananchi Mandiyari. This association with saints living out of the past will purify them, will give more power to their devotion. Unlike any centralized religious order, the Warkari sect is a spiritual movement and anyone who wishes to be a part of it can become so. It would be a mistake to confuse the Warkaris as unruly crowd of devotees around Jnaneshwar Palki. It has a disciplined order and a command structure like the moving army of Marathas. Jnaneshwar Palki is at the center of this procession. Ahead of the Palki and behind it are several dindis. The number of Warkaris in each dindi vary, ranging from 30 to more than 100. At the head of the dindi is the flag bearer. Following him are the Talkaris, the Vinekari, Pakhwaj player and women carrying tulsi plant on their head, and then follow the Warkaris. Sant Jnaneshwar Palaki procession has 27 dindis ahead of the Palaki of Jnaneshwar. It is an elaborate arrangement. At the head of the procession is a bullock cart carrying the Nagara. It is followed by the Jaripatka flag. Behind the flag are two horses. One belongs to Sardar Urjit Singh Shitole of Ankli and other, which according to Warkari belief is the vehicle of Sant Jnaneshwar. Behind these horses is the dindi number 27 and just ahead of the Palki chariot is the dindi started by Haibat Baba, who gave the Palki procession its modern form and arrangement when he initiated its revival in 1832.
Dindi is the smallest group. Owner, manager and Vinekari. Vinekari is at the end, in the center. And to his three sides, or to his right and left, either there may be two or three. And how they have to stand and where will the women stand? That is also decided. And nobody is allowed to cross the dindi. There are rules and rules very clearly observed.
Warkaris travel light, especially those coming from rural areas. They just carry one small bag that contains their bedding, clothes, religious books. Some walk barefooted, while some tie polythene bags to their feet to avoid blisters. It is amazing to see how minimum space is used to cook food in the truck shadow where it is parked. The sacks of atta are opened and in an instant a chain of command is formed. The women who are cooking food sing ovids written by Jnaneshwara. Singing ovids takes away the sense of monotony from the job of cooking and serves as a great stress buster for these women who have to cater to the needs of Warkaris. The whole atmosphere becomes lyrical. A patravli is a plate made of dry leaves put together in a circular shape joined by small sticks. This type of plate is available cheap, can be thrown after use and is biodegradable waste. In fact, one of the reasons why Warkaris could be so environment friendly can be found in a verse written by Sant Tukaram. Vrikshavalli Amha Soyari Vanachari. The verse means that the flora and fauna found on this earth is dear and precious to us. After the evening kappa, it is the time for Hari Patha, written by Jnaneshwara. It consists of 27 abhangas praising the Hari or Lord Vitthala and convey a highly philosophical content. As Hari Patha is being sung, the couplet Hari Mukhe Mhana Punyachi Ganana Purna Kari is to be said at the end of every abhanga.
आमचे वारकरी पहा ज्या श्रद्धेनं हरिपाठ गातात त्याला कुठेही तोड नाही. हरिपाठ म्हणजे सांगू आपल्याला, हरिपाठ म्हणजे आमच्या वारकऱ्यांची संध्याच. ती केल्याशिवाय कुठल्याही वारकऱ्याचा दिवस सरत नाही. या वारकरी संप्रदायाने भाग्य असं केलं की बहिणाबाईंनी एका अभंगामध्ये सांगून टाकलेलं आहे. बहिणाबाई म्हणतात, झाली संत कृपा झाली, इमारत फळा आली. हा भागवत धर्माचा ध्वज उंच उभारून धरला, भागवत धर्माचं मंदिर निर्माण केलं आमच्या संतांनी. ज्ञानदेवे रचिला पाया, उभारिले देवालया, नामातयाचा किंकर, तेने केला हा विस्तार.
After the Hari Patha, religious discourses on the philosophy of Varkari sect and Bhakti movement are given to Varkaris. Dindis often invite learned scholars from Varkari sect to give pravachana, that means a religious discourse. Kirtana is a form of imparting spiritual message to Varkaris. The Kirtankaras hold the title of Hari Bhakta Parayana. It is a degree of a kind in the Varkari sect, conveying that the person has gained mastery in sect's philosophy and its teachings. A kirtana has to be performed standing and with veena in hand. In fact, the Varkari who bears the veena on his shoulders never keeps it down. Instead, it is passed on from one person to another or is hung to 3 bamboo sticks tied together in a conical shape. Annual Wari to Pandharpur also proves to be an excellent launching pad for budding Kirtankaras and Pravachankaras. Preachers who use mediums like Kirtana and Pravachana to enlighten the society and people are of immense importance in understanding Varkari sect. A formal education of Varkari sect based on a certain syllabus is imparted to children in towns like Alandi and Pandharpur all across Maharashtra. Most of these educational institutions follow the pattern of a Gurukul where students stay with the Guru. Apart from Saint literature, they are taught art forms like playing mridanga, singing of a bhajana,
उदंड ऐकिले उदंड पाहिले उदंड ऐकिले उदंड पाहिले उदंड ऐकिले उदंड पाहिले उदंड.
Equipped with sound knowledge, these preachers then fan out to villages across the state. They not only concentrate on enrichment of an individual soul, but also help troubled villagers solve their domestic problems, urge people to abstain from consumption of alcohol, and so on. These Kirtankaras and Pravachankaras are very influential medium of enlightening the rural society at large, and hence they are respected wherever they go. Unfortunately, the Gurukuls where these messengers of Varkari sect study often face financial crunch. students have to ask for alms and donations. Even as they face the brunt of poverty, these preachers are proud that the saffron flag of Bhagavad Dharma rests on their shoulders. They have faced countless problems and aggressions, and yet they have not let it fall down. In fact, their desire to spread the thoughts behind this flag are so strong that they hardly seem to bother about hardships in life, be it when they are students or when they graduate and reach out to masses. They are on the outskirts of Fulton, a prosperous town in western Maharashtra. Fulton is also one of the oldest seats of Maratha royalty, the family of Naik Nimbalkars, who in historic times have protected the Palki procession and now are the main hosts as Jnaneshwara's Palki enters Fulton. Raghunath Raje Naik Nimbalkar, the current scion of the royal family, takes great care to ensure that all the needs of Palki procession are met with when it is in Fulton. Raghunath Raje's grandmother herself was a devotee of Jnaneshwar. She miraculously survived an air crash in the pre-independence era. What survived along with her was a copy of Jnaneshwari.
This cult and this wari had protection of a Maratha Sardar, Sardar Shitole, Anklikar. Ankli is near Belgaum, and this family used to keep their horse in front of the wari and used to give protection to the procession. When people saw that Sardar Shitole's horse was riding in the front, nobody dared to attack the wari. That was the reason why Sardar Shitole's horse was heading the wari. Maratha Rajas or Sardars have always been supporting this wari. Like our family always went there when the wari started in Arandi. That is called Prasthan. Unless our family goes there and somebody from our family attends the Prasthan, it's usually not, nobody of us misses that occasion. Someone has to go there. Then this whole system was watched and helped and protected by these people.
Every morning, elaborate puja of the Padukas, that is the holy sandals of Sant Jnaneshwar, is conducted. Performed in the wee hours of morning, the Padukas are bathed in sandalwood extract and Panchamrit before they are kept in the Palki again for onward march. While the puja is being performed, thousands of Varkaris are waiting outside, chanting Jai Jai Ram Krishna Hari and singing bhajanas. Though Varkari sect is among the Vaishnavite sects in India, Varkaris are not rigid that they will only worship Vaishnavite gods and despise others. The Pandharpur Wari no doubt advocates and exemplifies the devotion towards Lord Vitthala, but it is also of great significance for the enlightenment that it spreads through the sermons and songs. In course of Wari, people mingle with each other. A common bond of love and fraternity binds them together, rendering a very amazing dimension to the Wari. Totally unknown to each other, people belonging to different castes and religions meet each other for the first time in the Wari, and they get emotionally involved in each other as if they know each other for years. We were told that the first time a Varkari makes Wari for the sake of his beloved deity Vitthala, and the second time he makes it for he yearns to meet his soulmates, his fellow Varkaris. These interpersonal emotional bonds that are developed and cemented in the course of Wari in fact spread the message of love and fraternity in a very exceptional manner. These people in the Wari instinctively help and care for each other share their sorrows and griefs, counsel and guide each other in such a selfless and natural manner that you see an exemplary manifestation of universal brotherhood.
We can very well see people being cultured and creating a culture of caring and excellence through this movement. They have a schedule, they have a discipline, they observe all rules which make them sacred and pious. As a result of which, their thinking, interaction and expression, they become very, very wholesome. And when they go back, they contribute towards the familial feelings which are the prime need of the present society. The society today is full of tensions, full of stresses, and there is an atmosphere of violence and terrorism, creating a feeling of fear and fearfulness for which people at large have no solution, and even the government administration finds it very difficult to give any solution. And here comes an easy solution, which is a spontaneous expression of the people accepting voluntarily the discipline and at the same time creating no pressure on the resources of the treasury. In fact, in my opinion, if government and NGOs play a still meaningful role in this voluntary movement of social revolution, this revolution can become a potent instrument of establishing peace, tolerance and value-oriented living.
In the course of Wari, there are moments of recreation, and these moments are rich in the sense that they throw light on the interpersonal relationships that are of vital importance to spread the message of humanity at large. Traditional Hindu religion talks about several paths that lead to salvation. Most of them ask you to renounce your worldly pleasures, worldly duties, worldly possessions, and so on. They ask you to part with your family, home, and relations and take refuge in some distant cave of the Himalaya and follow Hatha Yoga, which requires very stringent rules of behavior. But here you meditate, you undertake severe penance, and you alone achieve the goal, that is salvation. The path of Wari is different, as here there are thousands of people who walk along with you to achieve salvation. They embark on this journey collectively and are not required to sacrifice their worldly lives. They need not take the path of renunciation. On the contrary, they are expected to walk the path to salvation along with the friends and families. It is not a salvation of an individual, but the salvation of the society at large. You need not get into seclusion to achieve salvation. On the contrary, the more you become one with the crowd, the more you dissolve yourself in the greater self, the closer will be your goal of salvation.
परमार्थ जर साधायचा असेल तर त्याला प्रपंच टाकावं लागत नाही, वनामध्ये जावं लागत नाही, गुहेमध्ये एकांतामध्ये बसावं लागत नाही. न लगे सायास जाणे वनांतरा, सुखे येतो घरा नारायण, हे संत तुम्हा आम्हाला शिकवतात. प्रपंच करावा पण परमार्थ बुडवू नये, हे महाराष्ट्र संतांनी तुम्हा आम्हाला शिकवलं, आग्रहाने सांगितलं. प्रपंचही करावा आणि परमार्थही साधावा. प्रपंची भाग्य, परमार्थी वैराग्य, दोन्ही यथासांग दोन्हीकडे, या दोन्हीची प्राप्ती करायला महाराष्ट्र संत आग्रहाने सांगतात.
You will come across thousands of Varkaris here who have dissolved their self and their identity and have become one with the mob. A Varkari staunchly believes that Panduranga, his God, he himself accompanies him in the form of another Varkari. So when a Varkari bows down to the other Varkari, he reciprocates with the same act, feeling that maybe Vittala has approached him in the guise of his fellow Varkari. Researchers from all over the world are obsessed with the enigmatic tradition of Wari.
गेल्या 30 वर्षामध्ये म्हणजे साधारणपणे 70-72च्या पुढे पाश्चात्य लोकांची या विषयाकडे दृष्टी वळली. विठ्ठलाच्या पाश्चात्य संशोधकामध्ये पश्चिम जर्मनीचे हायडेलबर्गचे डॉक्टर सोनथायमर, फ्रान्सचे फादर D.A. जलरी, जॉन स्टॅनले, अमेरिकेचे चार्ल्स पेन, डेन्मार्कचे एरिक सँड, डॉक्टर साऊथवर्ड, अमेरिकेचे रेमंड क्रो, प्राध्यापक विक्टर टर्नर, फिलिप एम्ब्लॉम शिकागोचे, गुंथर सोनथायमर, रशियाच्या फ्रान्सच्या एरिना ग्लुस्कोवा इत्यादी मंडळींचा फार मोठा सहभाग आहे.
Warkari sect observes very interesting traditions. One of them is an institution called Chopdar, the one who bears the chop or a ceremonial baton made of silver. The Chopdar is the controller general of the Palki procession. It is a title that has been bestowed upon Randhave family. Eldest male member of Randhave family in every generation performs as the Chopdar for Palki procession. Rajabhau Randhave at present holds the title of Chopdar. He acts as the bridge between the trustees of the Palki procession and the Warkaris. Heads of all dindis report to him. They air their complaints to him, approach him to solve disputes and take instructions from him about scheduled halts during a day's march. Samaj Aarti is another interesting tradition. It is a gathering of all dindis in a circular shape. At its center stands the Chopdar. As various dindis arrive at the place and complete the formation of the circle, the Chopdar raises his baton. As the baton rises, a pin drop silence engulfs all dindis. It is a signal that from now on Chopdar will give instructions. However, on rare occasions, some dindis continue playing tal, the brass cymbals. This gesture by a particular dindi symbolizes that the dindi has certain complaints which require instant attention of the Chopdar. Chopdar locates that dindi and sends his representative to the chief of the dindi. The problem is thus discussed and immediate measures are taken to solve it. At the end of Samaj Aarti is the announcement of lost and found. Number of Warkaris lose their belongings in the morning hurry to begin day's march. All such items found are delivered at Chopdar's office. Chopdar makes announcement about them and asks the concerned owners to collect them after proving his identity.
उद्या सकाळी 6 वाजता निघायचा आहे हो आरती राजा महाकैवल्य तेजा सेवती
चोपदार ही एक अशी व्यक्ती आहे की सर्व समाज त्यांच्या सर्व आज्ञांचं पालन करतो. या चोपदारांच्या कामामध्ये ज्ञानेश्वर महाराजांच्या पालखीसमोर जे कीर्तन होतात, जे जागर होतात, त्या सर्व कीर्तनकारांना, जागरवाल्यांना निमंत्रित करणे, पालखी सकाळी निघताना सकाळी वेळेवर काढणे, वेळेवर पोहोचवणे, पालखी कुठे थांबायची हे ठरवणे, त्या पालखी वेळेवर उतरवणे व ठराविक वेळ झाल्यानंतर पुन्हा पालखीत ठेवणे, या सर्व सेवा त्यांच्या अंतर्गत येतात. वारकरी संप्रदायामध्ये वंश परंपरेला विशेष महत्त्व आहे. ते चोपदारांच्या घरातला लहान मुलगा जरी असेल तरी त्याला चोपदार म्हणूनच ॲक्सेप्ट करतात व त्यांनी देखील दिलेल्या सूचनांचे तंतोतंत पालन करतात.
We were told that the real glamour of Wari can be experienced only through the Ringan. Ringan is a semi-religious ritual which is organized at various stages in Wari. Ringan literally means a circle. The palanquin is placed in the center of this Ringana. Usually a large plain on the Wari track is selected for this. The flag holders and the talkaris sit around this palanquin. A circular track around the palanquin is kept open and reserved for the circular trip that the horse of the Mauli makes. The other Warkaris and the crowd sit facing the palanquin. Chopdar monitors and coordinates all the activities related to the Ringan festival. The Chopdar takes about 3 hours to make arrangements for this Ringan, and when these arrangements are being made, the Warkaris dance and celebrate as if gripped by devotion. They form human pyramids, wave the flags, jump with ecstasy, and the entire atmosphere is charged with unknown zest, creating an ambience of a mega festival. When the Ringan gets properly organized, the encomium of Gyanba Tukaram rains the skies, and then two horses are brought in. One belongs to the Chobdar and the other horse is supposed to be of God. No one mounts the horse of God while the Chobdar mounts his horse and makes around. It is believed that Mauli mounts the horse of God and blesses every Vakari present on the occasion. Both the horses keep making a round, a pradakshina, around the palanquin, and they are cheered zealously by the Vakaris. Then it is dispersed and the Varkaris proceed onwards. Another equally or perhaps more enthralling event that takes place immediately after the Ringana is Udi, but ordinary Varkaris are oblivious to it. All the Talkaris and the Pakwajis gather around the Palki along with the musical instruments. And as per the signal given by the Chopdar, all of them at a time play their instruments in synchronization. This creates some kind of thrilling atmosphere in the surroundings. There is another kind of Ringan performed around the palanquin of the Mauli, that is horizontal Ringan. In this, the Varkaris stand in a row facing each other on both the ends of a road. They loudly chant the Naam, that is Gyanba Mauli Tukaram, and the horses run on the road in between. This horizontal Ringan creates at most the same frenzy that the circular one creates. Around the palanquin of Sopandev, a Ringan is organized wherein instead of horses, sheep run in between. The palanquin of Sopandev mainly treats its way through the locality of shepherds, and they throng around it taking their sheep. With deep faith and devotion, they make rounds around the palanquin with their sheep. The Ringana gives a dramatic touch to the Vari. It creates tremendous sensation and excitement. Thus, the Vari is no less glamorous and sensational than a Bollywood movie. Here we have a handsome hero. Lakhs of people, men and women, with their variety of countenances and costumes play their roles. Here we have a continuous chanting of Gyanba Tukaram. Accompanied by various musical instruments. Artists coming from the nook and corner of Maharashtra come here to present their art at the feet of their deity Vithoba. A rangoli designed by an artist or a melodious voice of a singer makes the experience of Vari a memorable one and also brings the image of Vithoba to our inward eye. Wakhri is in fact the last stop before reaching Pandharpur. All the dindis taken out in the name of various saints coming from the various nooks and corners of Maharashtra reach Wakhri by different routes at the same time. The encomium praising the saints, a strong yearning for having a glimpse of the Vithoba, and the untiring efforts made for reaching here on the previous day of the Ashadhi Ekadashi, a sense of achievement and fulfillment that charges the whole atmosphere. All these things contribute greatly to make this experience a memorable one. Till here, it was a disciplined journey made along with the group. Here the groups get dispersed and everyone plans a schedule in Pandharpur as per his convenience. Pandharpur is a capital of the Warkari sect. When a Warkari comes to Pandharpur on other occasions, the river bed of Chandrabhaga is dry. Even at the commencement of the Wari, it is dry. But as the palanquin proceeds from Alandi, the Chandrabhaga also gradually floods with water. And finally, the river, the theme around which a number of abhangas and poems are woven, is flooded on both sides. The history of the Warkari sect is closely associated with each and every temple of Pandharpur and with each and every house and lane of the town. The rich historical tradition of the sect is manifested here and there in Pandharpur. Pandharpur proudly flaunts the Warkari philosophy, Warkari art and Warkari culture with all its beauty and total authenticity. The temple of Vitthal and Rakhmai is at the center of Pandharpur. In every corner of the temple, you have the mundane as well as the spiritual. You have faith and meditation. And you also have a strong urge for the common good. When we visited the temple of Vithoba on the evening previous to the Ashadhi Ekadashi, we sensed that as the lakhs of devotees outside the temple were eager to see the Vithoba, the God himself was equally eager to meet his devotees. We were familiar with the Warkaris yearning to see the God, but we were actually thrilled when we experienced the charged atmosphere of the temple eager to welcome the devotees. Numberless people, simple and naive, thronging from the various parts of the state. What prompts them to undertake this journey? Why this fascination for the black god? Why these people get drawn towards this place all these years? So many questions perplexing the mind even today in the last phase of the Wari. But somewhere inside, the answers are also emerging. Lakhs of people tirelessly stand in serpentine queues just to have a glimpse of their revered deity. But only a few thousands of them will be fortunate enough to fulfill their dream. The others will just console themselves by having a glimpse of the pinnacle of the temple. But the amazing fact remains that the one who was able to have a look at the idol will not be vainglorious about it, and the one who could not see the idol will not be resentful about it. Both will be equally content with their own lot. The philosophy of Karma Yoga, that one should do his appointed duty without expecting anything in return, which is expounded in the volumes on philosophy, thus manifests itself in the behavior of the society as a whole. These are the moments of enlightenment in the course of Wari. How does Jnaneshwar Mauli deal with the problem of global peace that haunts the modern world? He invokes universal God and prays for the universe. This enlightenment dawns upon us in the Wari. The environmentalists today insist on environment-friendly culture, which our Warkaris have long ago brought into practice. The Warkari woman in the Dindi, carrying a tulsi plant on her head, and a Warkari man who wears a garland of the tulsi beads, they only symbolically convey that environment, flora and fauna are to be preserved and cared for. This is another precious enlightenment that comes to us. Today we refer to Earth as a global village. The world has come closer, but individually every human being is under stress, disturbed because of a feeling of uprootedness, pining due to a feeling of loneliness, and with this scenario, our Varkari leads a life of total contentment, saying, Maji chinta ata tuze Narayana. He knows Vithala will take care of all his worries and ceaselessly keeps on participating in Vari every year.
This is what this walking exercise produces. You walk and you become fine and finer. You walk and you become fellow and develop fellowship. You walk and you will become firm and determined. You walk and you will provide friendliness and fearlessness all around. You walk and you will get creativity. You will get confidence. You will get yourself committed, and ultimately you will become very confident of what you are doing, ultimately leading to common man becoming uncommon in his approach and action. The entire, therefore, approach is to uplift the society at large. Not one country or other country, the entire humanity. And if we look from that point of view, Varkari movement has a force and the capacity to lead before the world for uplifting the society at large and creating a feeling of institutional and familial approach along with quality life and living. Because it on one hand gives you health and be with the nature. It gives you on the other hand knowledge and wisdom. It gives you on one hand the teamwork and group dynamics. On the other hand, it enables you to be independent and interdependent so that physically, psychologically, socially and culturally you can enliven the entire mass and make this entire globe a place worthy of living.
Do all your sins get washed off just because of your participation in Vari? Does your participation in Vari is a sure way to lead you to salvation? We don't know. But Vari certainly ensures the metamorphosis of ordinary men into enlightened human beings. Zaktia plays a crucial role in the Vari tradition. He is alert and keeps vigil for all the 24 hours. He assures that he would be firm in spite of all odds, in spite of tumultuous circumstances prevailing around. With his feet firmly resting on the ground, this Zaktia keeps vigil in various temples, and that enables the Bhagavad tradition to flow ceaselessly for thousands of years.